I did a couple of videos early this week where I spoke about the South being a death cult. I don't want to sit here and just disrespect Southern people outright out of hand. But I just realized with the coronavirus, and I'm gonna really stop jumping on the South after this. This is the end of that. I realized that with the South, I'm dealing with people who don't recognize basic agreed on science, and that even if Trump or some other fascist that comes forward tells them a lie or gives them some false information that puts their life at risk, all they're gonna say is, "Oh well, we're going to heaven anyway. I'm Christian or whatever." I don't know how to reason with people like that. Like, I don't know what to say to someone like that. And I realize, like I said, with climate change, HIV, this all is the same mentality of, well, it doesn't directly affect me or my family, so I don't care. It doesn't affect me or somebody that I'm working with that I can see. I don't see anybody dying of it. I don't see any of my direct extended family dying of it. So that's something over there with those gay people, or that's something over there with those blacks, or that's something over there with those Muslims. I don't understand it. I don't get it, and so I don't care about it. And as I said, I'm not sure anybody can reason with that, with someone like that. I'm not sure they're worth the time. I'm not sure that they're worth the time to be wasted in that. I'm dealing with people who are just so full of hate and rage that it's scary, because I did a video earlier where I talked about what if there's a real pandemic. Well, you know what will happen is the decisions that need to be made may not be made, because people are going to be trying to put forward conspiracy theories. That's why I said earlier about how I don't know what will happen with the big one when the big one comes. I was reading about the movie 12 Monkeys. I might watch that. The Andromeda Strain. I'm talking about those type of events where hundreds of millions die, billions die. And I just realized that in that kind of environment, these people, they're going to oppose science. And so the decisions we need to make to better society, they're going to actively resist those decisions. I spoke about how, I said this before in the car, last week or this week, where I talk about how I think most people know that there's continuity. I mean, I'm sure most folks don't know what COG is, or Power Geyser, Granite Shadow. I'm sure most folks don't know what the fuck that is. But I'm sure most people know that if things get bad, the government has contingencies, the government has plans. And I think most people know that that means some sort of a limitation of access, limitation of movement. I think most folks know that and would acknowledge that. People that have common sense and live in an urban area, they know that. They may not care. It's like the draft. They may not care, but they know it exists somewhere. It's one of those basics that we ignore. We don't have to deal with on a regular basis. You have to deal with it your whole lifetime, probably, hopefully. But I think that with the South and with parts of the Midwest, you've got people that, for lack of a better word, have a death wish. And they'd rather die than give up 1% of their liberty, 1% of their freedom. Ron Paul's talking about that Fauci should be taken out. And I remembered why I'm not a libertarian. I mean, that that reality of Ron Paul saying that reminded me right there. I'm not a libertarian. That I can agree with certain things about Ron Paul, but that he shouldn't have been president. Treasury Secretary or something like that, we talk about it, but I wouldn't want to be president now. That was something when I was a kid, that I thought was cool, as a novelty. And I realized libertarianism, as I said, like I told that white boy when I was over there, reliable. What does libertarianism do about climate change? Oh, I don't believe in that. What does libertarianism do about a global pandemic? He doesn't say about it. Because it has nothing for those things. Libertarianism is one of those things you have when you have a functioning economy and things are going well and you're making money, well, we'll have less taxes. But when you have a crisis of this magnitude where everybody is potentially affected, even the rich are getting sick, what does libertarianism have for that? Nothing. You're watching that with Trump. I'm not saying Trump's a libertarian. That's disrespectful to libertarians. I'm not saying that. But there is a similarity between free market capitalism and libertarianism. There's some connections there with Trump. Trump is an ideologue. He's an oligarch. He's a thieving capitalist. He's one of those guys. And libertarians can feel like that's their guy. But that's oversimplification of what Trump is. Trump is trying to make money off the pandemic. Trump is trying to get, he's trying to make money off everything he does as president. He's not doing things for the good. Whereas I think libertarians really do believe in less government control, getting rid of the drug war, ending mass incarceration, lowering by order of magnitude the military. Okay? Stop spending so much of the fucking money that we have on fucking military and new bombs and new missiles, and stop threatening people, and stop these military misadventures all over the world, fucking with these people, telling them how to live, telling them what to do, threatening people. I think a libertarian would frown on much of that. A libertarian would agree with me on much of what I just said, that we don't need to be doing that stuff. I mean, we don't need to be threatening people. It'd be military, but it'd be nowhere near the military budget America's dealing with right now. Anyway, peace.